So, good morning, everyone, and thanks for being here to the third international workshop on algorithmic bias in search and recommendation. This is a joint effort with my colleagues Ludovico Boratto, assistant professor at University of Cagliari, Stefano Faralli, assistant professor at Sapienza University of Rome, and Giovanni Stilo, assistant professor at University of L'Aquila. And I'm Mirko Marras, assistant professor at University of Cagliari. We are around 30, considering both online and in present person. And so let's start. So, you know, this is a ranking algorithms are everywhere online. We are using them for getting access to a lot of information in any platform, from e-commerce, education, and so on. And we know that these algorithms and models learn from historical data that can convey different kind of biases. And these kind of biases are likely to be emphasized and exacerbated in the models we are using every day. And so we are really urging methods and models that can be aware of these biases and can mitigate them. And this is why we moved and we started to organize this workshop on bias to provide, let's say, that the IR community with recent advances on this topic, on algorithmic bias in search and recommendation, to assess the human dimensions impacted by IR systems, with again a focus on search and recommendation, and identify open issues, and let's say letting aware the IR community that there are practices, a lot of practices now that can deal with biases in these search and recommendation algorithms that we use every day. This is the third edition of the bias workshop, and the first two editions were pretty good in terms of participation. We had around 17 papers in the first edition in 2020, and around 14 papers in the second edition last year. They both went online due to the pandemic, but they were pretty nice. We were around 70 people connected online. And both the workshops led to proceedings published on the Springer CCIS collection. And this will also happen this year with all the papers you will see today. So we were interested in this workshop. We were interested in collecting different kind of contributions, moving from methodologies to collect data sets and to prepare them such that they can be used to analyze biases in search and recommendation. We were also interested in methods to for dealing with these biases. So let's say the bias in treatments, ways to interpret these biases and detect the reasons behind them. Another line of research we were interested in this workshop is on evaluating evaluation protocols, so metrics to that to monitor these biases, error analysis, and so on. And finally, we were interested in seeing special use cases for specific domains like e-commerce, education, entertainment, and so on. The program today will be really intense. After this welcome, we will have a first paper session on biases on preference distribution that will include 5 papers. Then we have a short coffee break. Another session on biases on preference distribution with 4 papers. Then we have our lunch break. During the afternoon, we start with a keynote talk from Professor Bagheri on stereotypical biases and disparities in information retrieval. We will have then a third paper session on biases on fairness dimensions, a short coffee break, another session on biases on fairness dimensions, and finally, a short discussion and closing remarks.